Well, hello, dear listeners, and welcome back once again to the Reforming Nerddom podcast. I am your host, Jordan Cecile, back at it again, and joined, as is usually the case, by the one and only P. Nate, aka Pastor Nate, aka Nathaniel P. Wright, aka my stranded in the U.S. buddy, Nate.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I don't know if I know we'll talk about this a little bit. Like, I don't know if you have this experience at all where you're trying to tell people about the trip and they just can't get past like, oh, stranded in Miami. So sorry for you. I'm like, you don't understand.
Yeah, no. And so listeners, on today's episode, we're going to explain a little
American
bit.
Airlines.
Oh, my word. So we're going to explain a little bit as to why we didn't record last week, because we had mixed bag for sure. Could have been worse. I joked, we could have been stranded in Kamchatka, where there's like that apocalyptic snowfall and it's, going up to like a 20-story apartment building.
Yeah.
We didn't have that, but we did have quite the ordeal last week after our retreat that we were on, our staff retreat with Ezra. So it was quite the experience. Blessings and curses all at the same time, and it was quite the experience. So we're gonna just peel or open up the curtain a little bit, pull back the curtain, and show you guys a little bit of talk about what we went through, because it was pretty crazy. Because honestly, to me, it felt, as we were right after it was all done, I was like, I feel like this should be a movie script.
Totally.
Like, I feel like this would actually be a really funny comedy, because the number of things that happened was just so ridiculous and literally life-threatening at times that it was like, this should probably be a movie. And so we're gonna talk a little bit about that, and then we also want to talk about it. The story broke last week. Again, we wanted to talk about it last week, we couldn't, but it's big news for us because we are big Brandon Sanderson fans. So we want to talk about Brandon's recent signing with Apple TV. He has signed the entire Cosmere, which is surprising, and I want to talk about that a little bit, because it's not just one part of it. He signed the entire thing, and some unprecedented control that he has, which is
actually
literally
the saving grace in this.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll talk about that, but then we also want to talk a little bit about Beast Games, because Nate, you and I are watching Beast Games. I finally caught up on the last few episodes, and man, Jimmy, that guy knows how to do a cliffhanger, eh?
He does.
It's so fun. So anyways, all right, Nate, why don't I let me paint the picture, and then you can you're probably a better storyteller than I am. So I'll explain the backdrop and what's going on, the context of our craziness last week. So we were very thankful that Nate and I and our wives were able to join our Ezra team in the Bahamas. One of our donors very generously opened up a villa. Like, it is a villa. Like, it was and so it was beautiful, overlooking the ocean. The pool, hot tub, overlooking the ocean, waking up to crashing waves. So it was stunning. I mean, so we're very thankful. It was amazing.
It was the kind of place I never thought I'd be able to, go. You see it in postcards.
Yeah.
So it was that. It was fantastic. Very, very, very thankful.
And we ate like kings and queens. Some of the meals we had there, fresh lobster that came just that morning. And then we had lobster bisque, which I've never had. And that was just incredible. And, but I will say the meal that stole the show for the entire week, even though beef tenderloin was incredible, lobster bisque was incredible, conch fritters. Conch fritters. That the ones that we had at the last meal we had with everybody at that restaurant and that at that resort, those were so good. I have not really stopped thinking about them.
They were really good. I like the sauce that was with them too. It's a very unique sort of, the conch is very unique. The thing it reminded me of most is like squid or like calamari. If you've ever had calamari in like a lobster or in a like a seafood chowder or something like that, it's that sort of consistency and that sort of
very chewy.
But it's good because that you combine that with like the chewiness of the pastry and Yeah, it was good. They were very good.
Yeah, so that was really good.
I
So
would say
all
the
that to
lobster
say,
bisque was my that was
was
my
it?
that was the
That
highlight
I
for me, yeah.
I've never had lobster. That was my first time. And
Yeah.
so that trip I had more seafood than I've had in a very long time. Like we
The
don't typically
grouper was
eat a lot
actually
of
really
seafood.
good too.
What was a grouper?
The fish, I
Did
remember
we just
we had
have
yeah,
did we have fish?
yeah, one of the
I
meals
can't
was
remember.
fish. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, I'll still
there you
take
go.
the conch fritters. The conch
Yeah.
fritters, but yeah, the lobster bisque was good. So all that to say, it was really nice. We
Everybody is now anticipating be like, "How bad was this trip? Like,
Yeah,
you ate
well,
like
and you know
kings,
what? It's
you woke up on the ocean."
so I mean, it's gonna sound you're gonna listeners, viewers, we're gonna have to go a little bit further with that, and you're probably gonna have even less sympathy for us because what happened was we're on I bel we went up on the Wednesday. We were supposed to be coming home on the Sunday. And then what happened was on the Friday, we were notified because of that crazy storm. And, many listeners here are in that Kentucky, Tennessee area of the US. And there was that big old storm that ended up canceling thousands of flights all around the US. It was tons of chaos. So we were one of those flights. We were supposed to fly from the Bahamas into North Carolina. That flight got canceled. So then our next flight that American Airlines scheduled for us was the Monday, but we were only staying at the villa until the Sunday. So very thankfully, Mark, who's the friend of ours who let us stay at their place, his business partner also has a place, and they just happened to be coming up on the Sunday. And he said, "Hey, no problem. You guys can stay." They had a separate kind of cabana thing in behind, and they said, "Yep, no problem." So we got to stay an extra day in the
So it all
Bahamas.
looked like it was turning up Nate and Jordan. Like,
Yeah,
we're like, "Oh, wow."
boo
Like,
hoo, boo hoo.
extra day in Bahamas. And actually that Sunday night was quite good because we actually ended up watching some of the football game like in the seediest little
Yeah,
Bahamian bar, like it with the locals. Like that I liked that experience. I know the girls were a
I
little bit skittish they because it was a bit of
well,
a rough and tumble place, but I loved that.
I did too. I
That was a
mean,
good burger.
it was a fantastic burger, and it was the best French fries we had the entire trip on any of the
Yeah.
meals we had. Those were the best fries. The bun was great. The burger was awesome. It was excellent, and it was just funny because yeah, you had all these locals sitting around smoking cigars, playing dominoes, and it was
And
like,
watching
okay,
the New England and all cheering for
yeah,
New England, interestingly.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to expect because here we are, these foreigners, these tourists, but they didn't care.
They
Like they
were
were fine.
great,
Like
yeah.
we were paying them, and yeah, they were good. So that actually was a lot of fun, even though Mel sat outside because she was like, I don't know how to feel about this
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
wasn't like a place that I don't think a ton of touristy place. It was definitely a local place,
yeah,
and but it was
but they
really
were
good.
super
So
friendly.
all that to say, we then were able to spend the day, one more day in the Bahamas. Our flight was a little later in the day. We get to the airport. Everything's
And it
fine.
starts it starts when we're boarding, okay? So this starts
Yes,
when we're boarding.
yes, the
So the
chaos.
trip
Go ahead,
starts to
Nate.
take a turn as we are for anybody who flies frequently or has flown recently. You board by zones, and so we happen to be on zone 9, the very last zone that was boarding on the American Airlines flight in the Bahamas. And it's a little flight, it's a little plane that takes you over to Miami, and then Miami is the massive airport where you can go internationally. And so we're flying from Georgetown, Bahamas. We're the last, I think, 4 of the last 6 to board. And so as we get up there with our carry-ons, they say we have to check your carry-ons. And so there was no more room on the plane, so they said, although we found some. And they took our bags and they checked them. But hey, no problem. They said, these will be waiting for you in Canada, no problem. And we figured like the storm came and went the Saturday and the Sunday. Miami did not get hit. Toronto got snow, but it's used to snow, so we're fine. So we fly into Miami. We had a fairly long layover. I think it was 6 hours in Miami Airport. It was scheduled to be. So we went, and Miami Airport's huge. So we went around. We got some food. We checked out some stores. I think Jordan checked out some Lego. Everything's going fine. The 4 of us are sitting on the dingy, dirty floor, but you're flying. You expect that. And we're playing euchre, and we're doing great. And then the flight, which I think was originally 8:30, gets pushed back to 9:15, and then 9:45, and then 10:30, And so we're sitting there, we're watching all these flights get canceled. The airport's slowly becoming more and more chaotic. It was already fairly chaotic. The rebooking line was, I don't know, a 6 hour line, like
Yeah.
easy, right?
Yeah.
It literally wrapped around the
So
entire
so the
time.
writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
We just were hoping that it wasn't going to affect us, but the
Yeah,
writing right when we entered the
that's right.
airport,
And the
it
temperature
was yeah.
in the airport slowly going up. And then so finally after delay, they cancel our flight. So we're thinking, oh shoot, like, we're all getting home to kids, and it's hard enough to kind of, the extra day that was added to our trip, though it was wonderful for us. You got to coordinate childcare at home because you only, accounted for the 5 days or whatever we were away. So flight gets canceled.
But then also to
And
that, the fact
yep,
that you were teaching on the Monday, Melissa was teaching on the Monday, your
yep,
mom who teaches at the school was then your
babysitter. Yep.
child care. So then it ended up causing all this headache at the school. So like factor that into all of our
Yeah.
stress that
So
came
we're
from
we're
this.
immediately looking for
Yeah.
flights. The rebooking line is 6 hours long. It's like 11 o'clock at this point. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do. The airport Wi-Fi goes down because everybody's trying to get on. The American Airlines website, which we're trying to rebook flights on, that goes down. So we kind of make the decision, let's just go get our luggage and let's get out. Let's go to a hotel. So we go down to the luggage area, and the luggage area is even more of a mess. So, like when flights are getting canceled, like we watched a stewardess basically leave crying
Yep.
because people were yelling and screaming. Like the airport felt like it was close to riot. And if the airport felt that way, the baggage area felt even worse. You go
Well,
down.
and even one thing though, quick, because on the canceling, and this is where listeners, I don't know if you have an issue with American Airlines. I sure as heck do now because the reason for the delay was staffing issues. The entire time it was we can't get another flight attendant. We can't get
Yeah,
another flight
they're
attendant. And
stuck in
under
other
yeah,
states, and yeah,
yeah, understandable. It's crazy. Flights are getting canceled. Uh, Flight attendants and pilots can only fly so much in a day. So the pool of people was small. But then right when they canceled it, it changed to weather. And when it changes to weather, they don't have to give you a hotel voucher, food voucher, transportation, anything. And so
yep.
for that,
Now
American
if you
Airlines,
go in
shame
that
on you.
6 hour line and you complain enough, they might give
Yeah,
you a hotel voucher, and that's what people were going
maybe.
for. So we're like, we're not.
Yeah.
Who cares? We're out the money. We'll just spend the money on a hotel for tonight. Let's just go and get our bags and go. So we go down to the baggage area, and all of the checked luggage has to be released before you can actually pick it up. So we now have the choice of, do we leave our luggage, or do we leave and go to a hotel and not have our luggage? And we didn't have, because they were carry-on. So we were all our toiletries, all our change of clothes, everything, right? And we're in like bohemian wear. And so we're there, and the lineup is probably another, I don't know, 3 to 4 hour line just to release your luggage. And they're bringing the luggage out. People can see their luggage, but they can't take it until they get a release slip. And you have to wait in this 4 hour line to get your release slip. So there were literally people like stepping over the line trying to grab their luggage, and people telling them they couldn't. Like, it was riotous. So we're like,
Yep.
let's just go. So we go out, and thankfully, because airport Wi-Fi is down, the whole system is overwhelmed. Thankfully, Teresa, who's the Ezra administrator, she's like, hey, I found you a hotel, but it's outside of Miami, because everything in Miami was booked. No Ubers, no rental cars, no hotels in all of Miami, because they already had this big marathon going on. And then you have 10,000 people's flights get canceled. So we get into a cab, and we're going to this hotel, which is about a 25-minute cab ride. It's supposed to be about a 25-minute cab ride to a Fort Lauderdale hotel. And we're thinking, then we're kind of between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. There's more flight options, whatever. So we're going there. I'm sitting in the front seat. Jordan and the girls are sitting in the back. The cabbie who we get into this cab with, I show him the address. He says he knows where he's going. There's no GPS or anything in there, which is bonkers in my mind, right? Every Uber, every
Yep.
taxi in Canada has a GPS. He just looks at the address. He's like, okay, I know where that is. Now, I say he said he knows where that is, but I just kind of got a grunt and a nod.
Yep.
He was probably 80, did not speak English, and was
Hmm.
not interactive with us at all. But whatever, we got a cab. We're thankful for that. So we're on our way to this hotel in Fort Lauderdale. And the whole time I'm in the front seat trying to look at flight options, we're talking, do we want to spend $800 per person on a flight tomorrow that might get canceled through American Airlines? You want to fly out of Fort Lauderdale? Do we want to go with a different airline? What about our luggage? All this stuff is swirling around in the vehicle. And, and while we're in the vehicle, the guy takes a turn off, and so it's on and on ramp off the highway, which is connecting to another highway. So it's not like it's a slowdown area. The cab battery dies. So the car just dies. Now you have to remember it's probably about midnight at this time, so it's dark out. There's no lights on the highway, and the car dies. There's no lights at all, and it's on the highway. So you have cars kind of swerving around the vehicle. So we're like, girls, get out of the car, go to the side. Girls are there. The cab driver seems completely oblivious. He's not telling us anything. He can't communicate with us. He's not responding to our questions. So he pulls out like a charger, like a one of those to jumpstart the car with a battery. He's doing that, seemingly oblivious to the fact that cars are swerving not to hit this dark this dark mass in the middle of the highway. Jordan's got his cell phone light, trying to give him light so he can jump the vehicle. I'm at the back of the car with my cell phone light, trying to wave at cars to swerve around us. So I'm literally behind the car with a light, shining it around, and cars are swerving around on either side, with the girls hysterical at the side, you trying to help the guy jump the car, the guy totally oblivious to the dangers going on. I honestly, that was actually one of the first times where I'm like, this could end very badly, right? So I'm like, I'm literally picturing a car come around, not see me in time, me have to jump out of the way or get hit by it. It smashed into the back of the car, you and the cabbie are dead, and our wives have to like figure out what to do. And it was brutal. So that was like one of the most tense 10 minutes of my life. And finally he jumps the car. We all jump back in, we get going. And then he doesn't know where he's going. He misses the turn off. You end up pulling up on your phone the GPS, and we're directing him where to go. So this cab ride that's already 150 US dollars, he's meandering around. So finally we're like, okay, this isn't the hotel, but just drop us off here. Like just let's get out of this car. So we pay for the cab. We walk, 5 minutes or whatever to the hotel that we were supposed to go to, that we had a confirmation code for, and we go, and the lineup is out the door because that happens to be the hotel where the airline is now filled up other hotels, and they've given vouchers for this hotel. So we're in line for, I don't know, half an hour.
Oh no! Before we even moved or could figure out anything, we were in line for close to an hour.
Yeah.
It was close to an hour.
Everybody's tired. It's like after 1 o'clock at this point. Everybody's exhausted. We've traveled all day. We're dirty. We don't have our luggage. We're trying to check in. We have a confirmation code. And then basically the lady comes out and says, we have no hotels for any of you. And she's like, and I'm like, I have a confirmation code. We've booked. She's like, yeah, we can't honor that. We've given away all our hotel rooms. And it's kind of like that, that Seinfeld where he's like, but I have a reservation. And she's like, yes, but we don't have the car. He's like, but I have a reservation. He's like, yes, we know what a reservation is. He's like, I don't think you do. You know how to take the reservation, but you don't know how to fulfill the reservation. And that really is the most important part of the reservation. So we're told that there's no hotel rooms here. And online, there seems to be nothing. So we happen to be in a place where there's several hotels in a row. So I think it was Colleen was like, Jordan, just go see if there's anything next door. So we go next door, and you go next door, and you come back, there's 10 vacancies. So we're like, okay, let's get a head start, and then we'll tell the rest of the people that we've bonded with in line over our misery that there's vacancy over here. So we tell them, then we hightail it over there, and we get one of the last rooms in this. I would say it was a seedy motel. They were very
That's
kind,
fine.
very nice,
Oh yeah.
But it was but like
yeah.
Yeah. So we get into this
cheap,
hotel,
but it was fine.
We flop into bed at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, knowing we have to get up in a couple hours and explain to our kids why we're not home. So we fall asleep. So we're in one little hotel room, 2 beds beside each other. And I've never felt so close to the Ceciles as we say goodnight to one another with beds beside. Jordan and I kind of high-fived from where we were sleeping.
Yeah, pretty much.
Our wives on the other side. It was so that was that night, and then basically we couldn't get a flight out. We were very thankful, actually. We have some friends at home who know Air Canada, and so there was an Air Canada bus that were there, an Airbus that they were sending to get some of their flight crew back, actually. So we got on a red eye on Wednesday. So this is Sunday night that we're talking about. No, this is Monday night that we're talking about.
Monday night.
and we get out. We get in a flight on Wednesday, so we were basically stuck there, which means the next day there's tearful conversations with all our kids that we're, not coming home. You're talking to your kids, we're talking to our kids, and we're trying to explain to headmaster Ben of the Cloth, Ben Jammin from the podcast here, who's the headmaster of our school, why I'm not there to teach my classes, Melissa's not there to teach her classes, and my mom's not going to be there to teach kindergarten because she has to stay with my kids. And so we're trying to figure out all of that stuff. I'm trying to move meetings because I was supposed to be back at work on Monday, and so we're moving meetings. We're trying to figure work stuff out, and we're in this hotel. So literally, we end up in this hotel. We have no food. We have no change of clothes. We have no toiletries or whatever. So we end up going to a gas station to get toothbrushes and toothpaste, basically, and deodorant, and that's about it. And
but I want to
ate all of
explain that real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
When it comes to that gas station, I had like an emotional experience with that gas station.
I know you
It
did.
was what was it called? A something track? Racetrack. And because I mean, we were in the hotel, and they had their little diner thing, but it was only open for a couple hours, and you could get little things here and there. And it was like,
Muffins.
and then we looked at Ubering, doing Uber Eats or DoorDash or something, but to send some like change of clothes and food and things, and we ended up not. It ended up being like $200 US after everything. It was like, okay, we can't do that. So then I was feeling so sad because like I just want some like deodorant. I just want to be able to get something to eat. And then so as we remembered that gas station was there. So Mel and I just decided like, okay, we're gonna go for a walk. It was a nice afternoon, so we went. And then as we walked into that place, like the doors opened, and then I see an ice cream thing, and I see a slushy thing, and a coffee bar, and then they sold booze, and they sold pizza. So then we walk in, I'm like, I'm ordering a pizza. We grab some drinks, we bring it back, and then I felt like I was bringing back to you guys just like $1 million.
When you came back with that pizza, you were a hero.
I felt so good.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Like we didn't have any food other than just like a muffin, and then so it's like, okay, we have a source of food. It was like in the middle of the desert, and you find that stream, that babbling brook. And it was like, that was Racetrack for me. So anyways, continue. I just needed to say that. Racetrack, shout out. Thank you. You saved my sanity.
So because this is all unexpected, not only are we coordinating things back home and everything, but we have work to do, right? So literally, I write my sermon at the poolside at this little hotel in Fort Lauderdale. I know people would be like, "Oh, like that sounds wonderful," but like, so number one, I don't have any of my research books, all that kind of stuff. I got my laptop, I'm good. So I'm writing my sermon, and literally in this motel, there's a group of guys up top on the balcony above us smoking a lot of weed.
So much weed.
So much weed.
So much weed.
I'm writing my sermon with like the secondhand fumes, and I'm just like, here we are. This is how the sermon's going to get written this week. It was so we did our work, and we killed time. And you feel a little bit trapped there because, of course, you can get a cab and you can go somewhere, but you don't have a source of transportation. And obviously, the costs for the trip are just accumulating now. We have to get new flights because we went with a different airline so we could get back before the weekend. And because American Airlines would have rebooked it. Well, they rebooked us for the Wednesday flight that got canceled anyway. And then the next one that they would have given us that was available through American Airlines was Friday night, red eye. So anyway, so we're in the hotel, and honestly, we're living in close proximity. And Jordan comes back from the racetrack with some pizza and some Fireball bourbon.
Oh. Fireball whiskey.
Or whiskey, yeah. And so we end up having some Fireball whiskey and watching 10
Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You in the hotel.
And then followed by The Princess Bride.
Yeah, in our beds, with high-fiving with our Fireball drinks, and that was a couple days
like
of
like the cheapest, most high school whiskey you're ever going to drink. But it ended up being great. I mean, I actually don't mind it.
Fine. I enjoyed it
with a ginger ale. It's actually really nice with some ice. The thing that made it stressful for me, and I think God was just saying, Jordan, you're going to take a break, was I providentially forgot my laptop.
Which you
Uh,
never do.
I never do. If I'm going anywhere for 4 hours plus, like, I mean, except on like on a weekend, but during the week, I don't usually allow myself to not be near my laptop for longer than a few hours, just because if something comes in, I have to deal with. And so I was planning on. I knew there was like a little bit of work stuff I had to do for Ezra, like posting our podcast and stuff like that when we were away. But then to not have it for 4 days was like, okay, what? So as you're writing your sermon, I'm trying to do work on my phone as little. I mean, I could. I responded to as many emails as I could and did as much planning and stuff. But that was definitely a challenge for me. Where even when we go to NBC, I got my computer there because there's stuff I often just have to do throughout the day or as we're throughout the week. So that was for anybody else who can sympathize, like that was really tough to not have my computer. Now you had yours and I was able to hop on a couple times, but it's like as you're working, I couldn't use your laptop while you were doing your stuff. So yeah.
So
And
we ended up
thankfully,
flying out the Air Canada. So we spent like 8 hours in the airport because of checkout time was, and when we could get a shuttle over to the Fort Lauderdale airport. But that was fine. Like we sat down. I mean, we ate a little bit too much airport food, but we played hours and hours of euchre. We got some reading in. We end up taking the red eye flight home. I think we touched down in Toronto on at about 2 a.m. Was that Thursday morning?
Thursday. Yep.
And of course our luggage, everything's closed, so we can't get our luggage. So Jordan, like a hero, just went and got our luggage today after much consternation. But our luggage eventually made it to Toronto. We drove home stinky, because even like you shower in the hotel room, but then you're all just putting on the same clothes that you've traveled in twice, and
Yep.
that you're sleeping in, that you're whatever. Turn my boxers inside out. I've never done that before. It was just, yeah, it was a bonding experience for our families, for our us and our wives, and we did get home. And then, of course, you get home to absolutely zero sympathy as everybody's in minus
Yep.
20-degree weather and been shoveling snow all week. So, anyway, have a little bit
Yep.
of sympathy for us. It was it worked out fine. It's great to talk about now, but in the moment, it just feels like you're stuck. And it says something. I was thinking about this after. It just says something about our modern luxuries, right? That we are in Florida. A trip that pilgrims would have taken 7 months to get on their cart and horse and like cart across the country, and we're separated from our kids, by countries, and you just want to get home, and it makes it seem like, why can't I just get home? And so we
Yeah.
we just have this sort of entitlement that I should be able to jump on a plane as long as I can pay for it anytime I want and just get home, and it became such an ordeal. But yeah, it was a bonding experience for sure.
We were very close. If that, no, we weren't, we were fully committed. If that flight got canceled the next day, we were going to hop on a train and we were actually going to train all the way up to Michigan.
Yeah,
Like that's where we were at. And it was going to be a 56-hour train ride.
train ride. Yeah,
And we would have like did,
that would have been awesome.
right? Like
Oh,
that's the only
jeepers!
way that, and honestly, the way things were going, I was like, darn
I
it, we're
just
going to be
assumed
taking a
that was what
train,
was
aren't we?
going to
I know,
happen.
seriously.
Yeah,
It's just the way things were going.
yeah.
I'm
There's actually,
thankful
remember,
we,
there was an Air Canada flight that I think got canceled, and then another that got delayed that day,
yep.
that we were kind of keeping our eye on. So we were hoping we'd
Yeah.
be able to get into Pearson, and we finally were. We got
Yeah.
home. I think we dropped you guys off at your house at 3:30. I think we got home shortly after 4, and then got at it the next day with excited kids and trying to get back into work and catch up and everything. And that was our adventure.
Yeah. So we appreciate your sympathy, even though it might be with like gritted teeth.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
it certainly could have been worse. It's a good thing that you and I and Melissa and Colleen like each other, because that could have been very tough. And I was joking with somebody, and when I was talking to our friend Justin, and I was just saying that it was like the anxiety in the airport was crazy. Like
Yeah,
it was so palpable. And
yeah,
my litmus test for, okay, this is potentially not cool was when you were looking stressed, and you're usually pretty calm. You're usually, and like right when I could see it on your face where it's like, okay, what the heck's going on? It's like, okay, shoot. All right, we got to get the heck out of here. Like even you
Yeah.
looked like you were a little bit uncomfortable in the situation. It's like we just got
Well,
to get
it
the heck
honestly, I've
out of
never
here.
been in such a large crowd, and I know people have been there for things where there's riots and stuff, but I've never been in a large crowd that I felt was so close to riot and just like
Yeah.
outbreak.
Yep.
And it felt that way, for sure. And it was just like we just need to get out of this airport because nothing good is happening here. There's no more we can do here. In all honesty, we kind of joked about this afterwards. If John Candy had to come up to us and said, "We're renting a truck. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of right?
Uh-huh.
Like if John Candy comes up and offers us a ride home, we are totally taking it."
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so
so
that was
anyways,
our
that's
adventure.
that's
And
that.
one of the pieces of news that came out while we were there, as Jordan and I were spending a decent amount of time just kind of killing time in that motel, was the this news that Brandon Sanderson sold the rights to the Cosmere to Apple. So why don't we transition into that a little bit so we can actually talk
Yeah.
about some nerdy stuff that our people actually tune in for, because
Yeah.
that's big news.
Yeah, it is.
We're
So
actually yeah.
no. Well, did you have something more there?
Well, I was just going to say, like, we were there. It's not a Sanderson book, but we were there kind of all reading the Shadow of What Was Lost, which is Eilington's earlier series before The Will of the Many. And so, this is a book that we're doing as our kind of book club at church that we're all into, and everybody there are big Cosmere fans. I was listening to it on Audible, which Michael Kramer does the audio for, who is the guy who does all the Cosmere stuff. So it was all kind of relevant to us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the deal itself, and then we'll talk about what we think about it.
Yeah. So it seems that Brandon has sold the rights to the entire Cosmere to Apple TV for various television and feature productions. And the thing that is that's really making waves is the amount of control that Apple is giving him. Like he is showrunner, producer, everything has to go through him, which in comparison, that is more control than J.K. Rowling had with the Harry Potter movies. That is more control than J.R.R. Martin had with the Game of Thrones. This has never happened before. And so I
Yeah.
think it is an indication for how invested Apple is in this and how much they truly believe in it.
Yeah.
And so that's good. So I think there's a lot of really good positive things that come from this. One, like this is going to be Apple's biggest thing they've ever done in film by far.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
these are gonna see budgets up there with Stranger Things, up there with Game of Thrones. Like this is their Game of Thrones, Rings of Power. So
Yeah.
this is huge. And I think that's fantastic that they're also giving Brandon the control.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wish it was Brandon 10 years ago who had the
Yeah.
control that he now has. But I think it is, I don't think he's going to deviate from the source material
No.
the way that somebody else might, where they might bring in more gay characters. Like he mentioned gay characters throughout the Stormlight archive, right? He never did in Mistborn. Mistborn doesn't have any homo stuff.
No.
But and actually in literally it's only Stormlight. I've read all of the Cosmere except for White Sand, the graphic novel, and there's no homo stuff in anything else other than
It's
Stormlight.
really just hinted at until
Yes.
Wind and Truth kind of
Yes.
brings it out. It's hinted at a few times early on
Yeah.
in such passing that you can kind of see where the wind's blowing and be annoyed by it, but it doesn't actually hinder your enjoyment of it until Wind and Truth.
Yeah. Wind and Truth is
So,
so gross. Yeah.
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 So my hope is that I hope that they just start with Mistborn.
Yeah.
Um,
They are.
I think obviously the Stormlight Archives is the big one that they'll probably move towards. And it'll be interesting to see how they go about the Wind and Truth stuff. But I agree with you. Like, I think Sanderson has definitely been influenced by the woke stuff, as evidenced by Wind and Truth. But he still is a fairly devout Mormon. And even though we would have a lot of issues with Mormonism, generally speaking, it does mean that there would be a level of at least perceived morality that he might have that a total humanist secularist wouldn't. So
Mm,
we're not worried about like Kaladin being played by Meryl Streep as we are in the Chronicles of Narnia that was purchased by Netflix. But so I am happy about that. I hope they start with Mistborn. Mistborn is so clean, like other than some violence, which it will be, it is what it is. There's no profanity. Even the way that they swear in the Cosmere is like storming mad, right? I'm so storming mad, and
yeah.
so I think for that, I really hope that they make this a bit more family than obviously anything like Game of Thrones ever was. Now, granted, it's still going to be mature in its themes and stuff like that, and with some of the violence, but like I really do hope that he makes it clean. And if they start with Mistborn, there's just nothing unless they really deviate from the source material. There's no real warnings other than what they would add, which is really encouraging for me, I think. And now one of my questions is, you saw this. I tagged for anybody who follows Reforming Nerddom on Twitter. If you don't, you should. But I tagged the Reforming Nerddom account and you retweeted it, where somebody just recently did the initial battle scene when Seth comes in to assassinate Gavilar at the very beginning of Way of Kings. They did that with AI, and it looked fantastic.
I
Like
know.
not good enough if that was the movie itself, but like for AI to just throw this together in a non-produced, non-budgeted thing, looked fantastic. So it'd be
Mhm.
interesting to see what they do, because I think there's just so much they can do with AI now that I wonder if it's all going to be live action. I wonder if they're going to do some stuff that's more animated. I'd just be interested to know what their plan is, and I haven't read anything about that yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either. I'm fairly confident that the show Stormlight, so like they have said that Mistborn is going to be 3 feature films, and then Stormlight is going to be their big television show. So I'm guessing you're going to see, it would make sense. Well, I actually wonder what that even looks like, because it's not done. Like he's only halfway done Stormlight. So I doubt they're going to want to do one book is a season, because that's actually, like, you only got 5 years. He's not releasing the next Stormlight book for 7 years. So I don't think they're
Is
going to
is it
be.
another 5 set? Is that
Yeah,
what Stormlight is going to be? It's going to be another 5 set.
yeah.
Okay.
And so it usually takes him 3 years to write one of those books, but he's already said that his production schedule is changing. So even before this, when now he is the screenwriter for this. So one of the things that's really cool about Brandon is he always provides a weekly update on his YouTube channel, and he'll tell people, I'm 10% through Mistborn. He just finished the Ghost Bloods first draft, for which is era 3 of Mistborn. And so he's really good at updating people. And he just said transparently, like, hey, sorry everybody, this is definitely going to impact my writing schedule for all the other books. So he was already, like, he just did the first draft of Ghost Bloods, and that book's not coming out until 2028. And so it's like,
Right.
that really sucks. So now anything he's writing is coming out 2 years later, at least. And so that means it's probably delaying Stormlight 6. And that was already scheduled for, I think, to be released in 7 years from now. So that might be more like 8 years. So it'll be, I don't even know. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but was it like each season was one of the books? Do you know?
I don't know. I couldn't get past the first episode just because of all the
Yeah.
junk they put in it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea. I didn't follow any of it.
Okay. Because
Um,
that they're doing that with Harry Potter, where
yeah.
they're doing 7 seasons of the new Harry
Right.
Potter show on HBO. So I could see them doing that, but they're not going to wait 20 years, because literally it's going to take 20 years for the series to be done, which is kind of crazy.
The nice thing is that Sanderson's 50, right? So he's still a relatively young guy. And
Yeah.
so even if this is a relationship that he has with Apple for the next 20 years, he should be, around for that, and should still have a sharp mind and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we have some concerns about how he was clearly influenced while writing the Way of Kings and Words of Radiance started compared to how the series ended and the stuff that he added to it. We have some concerns about that. So how bad will it get as he goes in further? And it might
Yeah.
actually be that the next batch of Stormlight stuff is unreadable to us. It could be that way. I hope that's not the case, but it could be. And so if that's the case, I actually hope that they start doing Stormlight, because I mean the first five, is it 5 books? Yeah, the
Yeah.
first 5 books are, it's a closed, like, you would
Yep.
bring resolution to that in a way that would be satisfying. And so if they did 5 seasons with the source material they have, I'd be really interested in seeing it. And I would love to see, you know, Dalinar and Adolin and Kaladin come to life on the big screen. There's a lot of
Yep.
interesting stuff. I'm interested. As much as I hated a lot of the Shadesmar stuff when I was reading it, I found it a little bit dry and mundane once you got into books 3 and 4. But there's just a lot of interesting stuff, and I'm interested to see how they visually conceptualize Shadesmar and everything, because there's a lot of cool stuff in the book that I'm just interested to see how they do it. And I'm interested to
Yeah.
see what they can do now with the kind of technology they have and the AI and the generation that they can do. And because there's a lot of just fantastical stuff that you're picturing in your mind, and I'm just really interested to see how Brandon Sanderson conceptualized a lot of the stuff that I was picturing in my own mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I really do think Apple is going to throw just tons of cash at this. I
Yeah,
think
I
this
think so
is
too.
their,
I think they know
like,
this is their thing. This is their chance
yes,
to
like
catch
this is
up
their
to.
opportunity, right? HBO has Harry Potter, they have Game of Thrones. Um, and then I guess Netflix had Stranger Things. That was their cash cow.
Yeah,
Prime
Prime
tried with
has all of its Lord of
Prime.
the Rings stuff, which has
Yeah.
been a bit of a gong show, but that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful. Like I'm confident that there's not just going to be inserted sex scenes in this.
Yeah,
I don't think Brandon is gonna let that happen.
I agree.
I want I need to believe that. So we'll find out. Obviously, if there's a hire for an intimacy coordinator, then we'll know that. I just can't imagine to think that we won't be able to watch Stormlight. It would be as devastating. Like that would be tough. That would be really tough. But I do know they are starting with Mistborn, so they're starting with the first film. He's working on the screenplay right now. The thing I'd be curious about, to your point of different mediums, is I think Mistborn would look really cool in a similar style to Arcane. Did you ever watch the Arcane show on Netflix?
Yeah, no, I
Did you watch
agree.
both? Did you watch both
Yeah,
seasons? I didn't watch the
no,
second
no, I
season of it.
didn't. I watched the first, and I watched enough to know what you're talking about, and I
Yeah, yeah,
agree.
it's like awesome aesthetic.
Yeah,
The cinematography is incredible. So I think that could look really cool in
yeah,
Mistborn. I think
yeah,
that would, especially just the way that the Mistborns actually move around and the different metals, and just like the what is it? It becomes Elendil. What's it called before? The city, like just like that dark steampunk kind of feel. I've
yeah,
drawn a blank at where the Lord Ruler. Anyways, whatever,
yeah.
I forget the name of the place, but I think that would
Yeah,
look really
with the
cool.
long towers that jut out into
Yes,
the, like,
that's
yeah,
right.
I know. Even the oh man, it's been so long since I read Mistborn. What are the things called that protect him? Um,
Like what marsh? Oh, I
like
guess I
the
don't want to do too many spoilers.
yeah, like the
With the
wraith kind of
spikes,
things. Yeah, with the
spike with the
spikes
like
and like, yeah. Anyway, whatever they're called, like, there's just a lot of
the
cool visuals for that. And I do think, like, the aesthetic of Mistborn, like you described it as sort of a steampunk kind of, like, it really is a cool,
yep,
yeah, it's a very cool world that he created. Like, Way of Kings is a bit more of your, like, typical fantasy world, like, set in that, the rolling hills, and there's the different geographies and stuff like that. But, like, Mistborn really was a kind of very unique setting. I love that, like,
yeah.
cityscape. Anyway, it should be good.
It's something like like adjudicator or something ater. Is that ringing any bells for you?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Anyways, so yeah, I think it's good. I think it's exciting. Time will tell whether it actually ends up being appropriate. We can watch it. I sure hope it is. It just actually brings up that our because people were talking about this. Uh, it was back. What was that? Maybe about a month ago, where Sony bought the
Inquisitors,
rights to.
Inquisitors.
It was something. Iter.
Okay,
Yeah.
you were there.
Um, the hierarchy. James
Yeah.
Islington's book was purchased by Sony, and they're actively in development of that as well. So curious to see what that looks like. So it's exciting
I
for
really hope this is successful
yeah,
because when you look at guys like James Islington, who I like Sanderson. I like his body of work. Everything I've read of his, other than Wind and Truth, that series I think went downhill. But I'm excited. I hope this is a raging success because I would love to see new up and coming guys like Islington. We're reading The Shadow of What Was Lost. I think you're done it now. I'm not quite. I'm, about halfway
almost.
through, and I'm enjoying it. Like
Yeah,
again, very cool world, great characters. But to see like the will of the many and the strength of the few come to the big screen, I would just love it, right? So this would be fantastic. And I'm just
yeah,
picturing like transfects and like I'm just kind of picturing what you can visualize. And so
I
I
know.
hope this is a success because I think what it will lead to will be really good for nerddom.
Yeah, I agree. So, listeners, you just need to listen to our recommendations if you're not already, because the books that we keep reading and recommending keep getting the rights purchased for lots and lots of money. It's because they're
Yes.
really good. They're
Yeah.
really good, and I'm really yeah. I was listening to it on the way back from the airport, getting our luggage. I think I have about 45 minutes left in Lycanius book one, so I'm. It's it's obvious that he got better as a writer for sure,
Yep.
like in hierarchy. You definitely see that. But I find it is less obvious when I'm listening to the audiobook because Kramer is just such an excellent narrator.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's when I'm reading it physically that I notice how he describes a thing or how a particular scene or the dialogue between characters. It's like, you know what? He has improved, and he says it's like he can say more with less words and have it be better. And
Which
that
is
just
the
comes from being a
telltale
better
sign of a
writer,
good writer.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly
because
right.
even there's been a few times where I've been talking to Mel about it because she finished it last week, and I'll like read a section. It's like I feel like he would say this better now, and she's like, yeah, he would. And so it's cool to see. But what you see in this book is that the guy is a brilliant storyteller, and that's what's
He
really
is. Yeah.
cool. And now I feel like his writing has caught up to his storytelling ability.
Yeah.
Because man, the twists and the turns and the just like the cliffhangers, the shock, the tension and like the pace, like he's really good. It's just like go, go, go. Like you really can just sit there and just read it for hours and hours because there's just always stuff. And I feel like he's found a length that works. That like 600-700 pages is like a really good length versus Sanderson where he's getting into 1,200 pages and you get Shadesmar for 400 and nobody wants it
Yeah.
because he's just committed to having these 1,000 to 1,200 page books. And I just like Islington. Maybe it was just the thing put on him by his publisher, which it very well may have been, but it just seems like that is a really good. It's not too quick. You feel like it's substantive and you're in the world long enough, but then it doesn't feel like it's dragging on, which I
Yeah.
really like. So
Yeah. I agree.
so yeah, listeners, if you haven't read that, I would highly recommend the Lycanius as well. And he actually has a a sci-fi book coming out this year
I
as
heard
well,
that.
which yeah. So more from Islington. But okay,
That's good.
Nate, I know you got to get going soon, and so do I. But real
I just want to
quick,
say to any of our listeners who might happen to be big television executives, just saying, like all our recommendations are working out great right now. So, Crossroads Kids series is actually available. Nobody's yet claimed the rights for it. So just throwing it out there. My number's available online.
there you go. You will make some money at the very least by doing that, everybody. All right. So before we wrap up, Nate, just real quick, Beast Games. I'm
Right.
fully caught up. How are you feeling? I don't know how many more weeks are. There's probably only got to be a few weeks left before.
Yes. So I gotta say, I'm not actually the biggest Mr. Beast fan. Like, I was never into him as a YouTuber. I find him a little bit juvenile and bombastic. But the first season I found compelling because I was just shocked at how much money he's giving away. Like, it's baffling to me that all these Who Wants to Be a Millionaire survivors run for 50 seasons and they give away $1 million. This guy gave away $10 million. along with millions along the way and bribes and other exits and other rewards and stuff like that, including and plus an like a $1.8 million private island. And like I was just shocked at the scope of it, right? That they build this beast city and that, like, I was just shocked by all of that. I found the games generally in season one were a bit dumb, right? They were a little bit simplistic and a little like not skill oriented at all. They had a lot of people, so they had to cut them in odd ways. But I found the whole production of it very just spectacular, right? Where I'm just like, I can't believe that they're giving away that much money. I can't believe they're doing that thing. I can't believe that how big they went. So that's why I watched season one. I would say in season two, Jimmy, Mr. Beast, is actually a much better host. He's less juvenile, less bombastic. He seems to get that like the season one winner was compelling because of his story. And so he's letting you in on the characters a little bit more. He has these moments like Jeff Probst where he like is pulling out the stories of people. And the episode that they did where they partnered with Jeff Probst in Survivor, I'm just Jimmy. I think this is actually what he wants to do. I think he actually likes reality TV. I think he wants to do this, and I think he's actually found a pretty cool niche where it's just as big in terms of the amount of money he's giving away, and it's still just as spectacular. But I find he's actually just a better host this year. The games, like the thing that they went on, the like obstacle course, and then they could battle on it and stuff like that. Like that was really, really entertaining. Like that was as good as the reason I still like Survivor is because the challenges are so cool. I think that they're really neat. And I think he's tapped into a couple of things that were really neat. And I did find it quite funny that they did this like one episode mashup with Survivor where they did like a couple of like very traditional, very like iconic Survivor challenges, got it down to 2, did a tribal council. And like the irony was not lost on me that this was like a kind of mini Survivor, and they gave away more money to the winner of that, who wasn't even the winner of the whole show,
I
than
know.
Survivors that were given away to a winner, like by a decent amount. So like, what did he get? $2 million, I think, which is double the
It was
price.
a $1.8 million island.
Right. And so it was just like, I just find the scope of it impressive and kind of unbelievable. And then the fact that, you know, it's actually entertaining now. The games are better. He's a better host. I'm finding this season's actually really enjoyable. And man, he is good at like Survivor kind of has its formula, right? So it's like fallout from the last tribal council, reward challenge, drama and politics within the tribes and the alliances, immunity challenge, what's going to happen going into tribal council episode's done. Beast Games just ends the episode wherever they want. And they tend to end episodes right in the moment, like the bribe one where it's just like somebody hit the button and then it's like, bong, you gotta wait till next week. And I'm like, you got me, right? Like it's good. It's good. It's compelling.
Well, even just this last episode where they draw from last season and do it in a different way. And then the guy's just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. It's like, oh, you're going to do it. And I'm not going to tell you listeners what that is, but it was just like, oh, he's going to, because it's fascinating how they really just like play with you. And it's, I'd be curious what that like. I'm sure somebody right now they must be doing a study while this is going on. This has to be some sort of a psych study as well on human interactions and like when you can find people and when you have them doing certain things, and because even to see how people put their trust in a person that they've literally only known for 2 weeks, and then they say like, "I got you, bro," and then you do see, which honestly, it's surprising that it took as long as it did, but people just straight up being like, yeah, I'm lying to them. It's like, oh, okay. Because so many other times people are like legitimately putting their trust in these other people. And so it's just like a fascinating psychology experiment where you just.
Because you have everybody's there for their own life, their own family, right? You have guys on there who are dads who have young kids who are turning down $1 million to keep other people in the game that they've like developed these bonds with. And for me sitting at home, I'm like, dude, I love Jordan, but I'd eliminate you from a game if it meant $1 million for my family.
Straight
right?
up.
Like,
Straight up. I'll give you a couple, I'll give you a few $100. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I'll buy you a Lambo, but but like seriously, it because of the environment they put them in and they stick them with these people, and there is suffering involved, so to speak, in terms of psychological stuff that they have to undergo and these high stress, elimination challenges and stuff like that. And it's just it is fascinating to see how people bond together in those kinds of environments. Um, I thought they got really good contestants this year
Hmm.
overall. I think last year there were a lot of people that I really didn't like, and I think they kind of knew the profiles they were looking for. The sort of strength versus smarts thing that's going on is kind of cool too. And anyway, I enjoy it. I would encourage people to watch it. It's good, clean entertainment, and there's not a whole lot of that anymore on streaming services. So
And they're really surprisingly showcasing a lot of Christians,
yeah, they are.
right? A lot of people like praising Jesus, people praying, um, which is just interesting that they're not cutting that. Like Jimmy is
Mhm.
allowing that in there, but he also does have a bit of a at least cultural Christian background. I think he went to a Christian school when he was
Yeah.
growing up. I think his mom is maybe a Christian. Chandler is a Christian.
Oh,
Very
great.
outspoken on Instagram, like sharing Bible study stuff that he's doing, scripture he's reading through. It's only been like within the last year. Like I think he's been actually like
Okay,
converted
cool.
within the last year. And Jimmy didn't boot him, and he did get rid of that, pedo whatever
Yeah.
Chandler guy. No, not Chandler. What's the other
Yeah.
guy's name?
I don't know the other guy's
Anyways,
name,
his
but
other
I
his
know
other
the guy.
boy who is now just the tranny creep. And so he didn't get rid of Chandler, even though Chandler's very outspoken a Christian. So it's cool to see that that's been allowed in the show as well. So yeah, when just to the point of it's clean, it is super clean. The one person I can't stand, I have to say this because he annoys me so much, and I forget his name. The guy who's dating the girl they met in there, and now
Oh,
they're
I
in love,
know.
and they've
I
only been
know.
dating for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for one of them when the opportunity. I don't know. I'm still
Yeah.
not 100% convinced that it's not a game in the game, and like because that's
I
the
think
thing
he's all in, but I'm waiting for her to just be like,
when
you
they
know,
when they when they the last thing where she was going and breaking the hearts and they didn't show it. I was like, okay, has your usefulness run out? And because they really built that up, and I wasn't sure if that was just me maybe thinking that, but I was like, I really hope they get rid of him because I can't stand him because he's just so
yeah,
arrogant. Because she
yeah.
does really well, and he is useless.
He is. She's saved him so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like it's actually incredible how useless that guy is. He's like one of the strong guys, and yet he was one of the first guys. Well, maybe not first, but he didn't last super long in the strength stuff. He
No.
is not a smart dude, so he can't do any of the smart stuff. And she's seemingly pretty
She's
competent in
very
both.
capable. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I can't stand him.
Yeah,
I just
I
want him to
agree.
go. If he wins, or if the two of them are the last two, that's going to be
Yeah.
really hard. But
It was really
anyways,
interesting too when the last episode with the family visits when you saw her folks and
yeah,
a few of the contestants who are like almost like confessing to their families what they've given up to stay in the game and the bribes that they've turned down almost apologetically. And she actually had a really good line where her dad said something about like, well, that's a lot of money, real money or something like that. And she said it's hard to describe to you the choices that you make when you're here. And I'm like,
mm,
there's that moment where the like psychological stuff is coming in where she's admitting that's probably a choice that if I was outside the game, I'd be saying you're an idiot for not doing that. And yet she made a different choice within it because it's hard to describe,
yeah,
what's going on in your mind when you're there. So there's little things that are fascinating. It's just dumb entertainment if you want it to be. There's
yep.
lots of stuff to talk about if you want to go deeper. It's just I find it, like I said, there's not a whole lot of good wholesome TV anymore, so I'm enjoying it and I find it quite fun.
Yeah, it's a light 40 minutes that
Yeah,
you can
turn
just
your
it's
brain off and
goofy, yeah,
yeah,
and it's good. And I do actually like Jimmy. I've enjoyed his stuff. I do particularly love his chocolate,
I know you do. Yeah.
Feastables. Uh, I was at Independent last night, and they were getting rid of it. They were clearing out, and it was like 94 cents. I bought 40 chocolate bars.
Of course you did.
And it's
And Mel's just
actually
like, "Jordan, you've never made a better choice."
yeah, no, it was great. And then I also bought a whole bunch because we have our trivia night tonight. at the church. We're hosting our first team trivia night, and the prize is going to just be 20
Mr.
feastable
Beast
chocolate bars. Yeah,
Nice.
pretty good
Nice.
prize. So, anyways, listeners, that is it. That's it for today. Thank you for sympathizing and weeping with those who weep, because I'm sure you are, as you heard our trial that granted could have been worse. Could have been worse. But we're very thankful we're home. We're very thankful to be back at it. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Just a reminder, you can go and check us out on Patreon. Join us on Discord. We always have great conversations going on there. Thank you, as always, Nate. Always a pleasure. And make sure, listeners, if you have not, to like and subscribe. That's always helpful. And until next time, stay nerdy.